Hi, and welcome to my channel, Laura's Library Card. So today's book review is discussing the book Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. The author is Patrick Horvath, and the letterer is a name I'm probably going to butcher, but I put it here on the screen and attempt Hassan Otsmane-Elhaou. And yeah, let me tell you about this graphic novel that I read. The premise of this book is that we are following our main female character, who is an adorable brown bear, middle-aged character named Samantha Strong. She is living in Woodbrook, a tiny town where all of the people in this town are animals. She's the brown bear. She runs her family inherited business of the hardware store. One of her coworkers is this guy who's a mole, who has a mole wife and mole children. The sheriff is a hound dog, and the mayor is a turtle. And everyone just kind of lives in houses and wears clothes and drives cars and all that jazz. And it's a very like cozy, sweet location, and everything seems totally fine and like very small town charm until we find out and learn, this is not a spoiler, it's in the blurb, it's the premise of the book, that Samantha Strong is a serial killer. And she takes a trip sporadically when she needs to into the city and murders people and dismembers them and buries them out in the woods. And the premise of this book is that Samantha has managed to hide this for years and years and years, but then somebody actually, like one of the townspeople, is murdered in a big, dramatic, grisly way, and now the whole town is upset, and everyone is like freaking out because there's been a murderer, and that she is like, hello, and she's kind of got to figure out what, who has done this before people start investigating, and potentially she is found out. So for me, I read this for my comic club, and it's definitely got some like grisly bits, but the an immediate reaction that you see based on the art is it's very 1990s children's picture book. It's pastel, it's soft, it's kind of comforting, it's very cozy, and I think that kind of the main gimmick for me in this book is the juxtaposition of this like cozy, soft pastel, pretty art style with the fact that there is gore and horror and blood and cutting up of body parts, etc. on page. So to me, like, I mean, that's interesting. It's fun to kind of look at that. It's it's not fun to look at, but like that juxtaposition is very interesting. It's very it's a thing that itches my brain, but also at the same time, like, structurally and taking a step back and looking at the character development and the plot development, there were some potential issues here. And I don't know, I didn't love this book overall. I mean, it was fine. It just kind of read quickly, but to me, the thing that is the pull is the fact that there's this specific art style that is so pastel and sweet in comparison with the actual content on page with the murders and stuff. I, for example, wanted a little bit more out of the world building. We don't really ever get an explanation for, why there are these sort of humanized animals, which is fine, but does bring up some questions with regards to like why there are still like wild normal animals, like there are people, like some of the animal people like have animals as pets, like I think the dog sheriff guy has a pet dog, and there's multiple points in this book where Sam the bear like is in the woods and she sees a bear in the woods, and it's like, why does Sam have speech and thought and clothes and a car and a house, but then these other bears are just like normal, and she doesn't talk with them, like they don't seem to have any powers of speech, and it doesn't seem like she has any like better understanding than anybody else would, like just because she's a bear. I don't know, it was confusing to me. And then also there are these little moments where like someone has a dog as a pet, but then like there's another moment where someone is passing in front of a butcher shop window and there's like a pig's head and stuff there, and the person passing in front of the butcher shop is a pig, and so it's like there are still people who are eating like other people, like I don't know. So that was just kind of not explained, and I thought was an opportunity to potentially be interesting, and it just kind of never really went anywhere. Sam figures out who this other person who's committing murders is super quickly and easily. I mean, there's this big red herring that also was not explained, but she figures out who the murderer is like super easily, and then I just felt underwhelmed with the sort of explanation or reasoning behind that. And I also felt like, okay, fine, if we're just saying that both that person and Sam are both people who have committed multiple murders, are serial killers. If you want to just go ahead and say, okay, fine, like they're killers, they're murderers, they're psychopaths, whatever. I felt like Sam's characterization was a little inconsistent with how she was presented early on, to kind of have feelings and have long-term friendships and have these long-term relationships in the town, and that she like wanted to preserve her reputation and that kind of thing. But then like over the course of the book, we hear her say certain lines, and then especially about like kind of what happens at the end of the book, and how everything kind of goes down in the conversations we hear there, like she does come across as much more psychopathic and non-emotionally involved with anything. So it felt a smidgen like inconsistent to me, even though I don't know what that really means, considering I don't in real life know any serial killers. So okay. I just kind of felt like the main point of this book was to be the gimmick of the type of style that it is drawn in comparison to the actual content. I didn't feel like the actual content was like done in a way that was super amazing. And I think that's maybe a little harsh. But it was a quick read. It was entertaining. It was interesting. If you are a fan of the blurb does a comp similar to Dexter, and I don't think that that's like too far off. If you are vaguely interested in anything I have here, don't let my negative commentary sway you. I still gave it like a 3.5 stars, but I just wanted a little bit more out of this story, and I didn't think that the imagery was pretty enough to save it, in my opinion. And there you go. That's the end of my review of Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. And yeah, let me know down in the comments if you have read this or would be interested in reading this in the future. And let me know if you are a crime junkie, true crime podcast listener kind of person. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.